Hi guys, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
So the Pradeeps of Pittsburgh. Tell me a little bit how has it been for you to portray a family with the cultural nuances in the center of America? It's something that seems fun and cool, but it's also very necessary, especially nowadays. How has it been for you as actors and as storytellers?
Yeah. Well, personally, for me, as a person, I've grown up in America. From when I was born all the way to now, I've always been here. I'm a U.S. citizen. My parents can't say the same because they came from India all the way to the U.S. So they've experienced hardships and sacrifices in order to have that better life. And you don't even have to be Indian. I mean, all
Yeah.
kinds of people from all over the world, they come to America for the same opportunities, goals, and dreams, really. And I feel like when people watch this, they'll get a sense of if they had gone through something like this, which it's always hard to step into a place that you don't know. I think the comedic factor that the show brings will definitely allow for their own personal stories to be seen a lot brighter, and it can take a burden off their shoulders of, oh, this family's going through this, and I went through something similar like this, and yes, things will get better. And for people that haven't necessarily gone through that, they can look at this and say, oh yeah, well, I have a much more knowledge and understanding of how much that many of us go through in order to be here. And I feel like they'll be a lot more grateful of the fact that, like, I know I am. I'm super grateful that I've been able to be born here and raised here with such an incredible family. So
You know, guys, what I love, and I wanted to speak to you about that. Nowadays, I don't see as much family sitcoms on TV, and that's great. And the fact that it's a family and it's a family comprised of people from somewhere else that are making it happen in America, which is something great, which is something I admire a lot, being an immigrant myself. I find it very interesting to bring that back. How has it been for you to bring that comedic family sitcom back to the streaming platforms?
Yeah, I completely agree with what you've said. Um, I feel like it was really an important message to portray, as you don't see um, this kind of this kind of situation on TV where there is people having to call somewhere completely different to their home. They need to adapt to a place and call that place home. So you don't really see this sequence of adaptation to a different place on TV anymore. So I feel like it was a message that had to be portrayed.
That's definitely true. And you're a family on TV. How has it been for you? How much fun have you guys had making this show?
it's been so fun, and I'm super thankful that we actually have a cast like this that is a family on screen, but also it feels like a family in real life, where you don't get that all the time and on in this industry. But everybody's super grounded, everybody's super knowledgeable, everybody's super caring, and we're all in this journey together of creating something that we hope resonates with people. Getting to work with Ashwin is super fun, though. I mean, obviously we're brothers on the show, but it does feel like we're brothers in real life. I mean, we've had so many wacky stories and situations that we can name right now of all the stuff that we've done outside of set that have allowed us to bond even more. So
That's awesome. Guys, thank you so much and congratulations on such a beautiful, wholesome show that I think everybody needs to watch. Thank you. Guys, how are you? Welcome to Particular.
Good. How are you?
Excited to talk to you. I was thinking about the Pradeeps of Pittsburgh and how necessary a show like this is and what it brings to platforms nowadays. It's been a while since I've seen a family sitcom on TV, and especially a family with the nuances of being from someplace else in America and creating your own identity and your own ideas on what it feels like to move to another country. How was it for you from a creative standpoint to make this happen, especially nowadays? I see it as a necessity.
For me, I think that I think it would be very easy to paint the picture of the character I play as like a very one note, one dimensional thing. And I think what Vijay was able to do was give everybody enough heart to be grounded in reality, so that even when my character's doing something that could be perceived as offensive, it's funny enough and coming from a place of sincerity and not malice, that he's able to do that. And there's a piece of inquisitiveness too that both my character and Naveen's character have for one another, which I think is one of the things that is very much lacking, where we could see these characters come in and know everything about the neighbor and have no interest at all in getting to actually know them, because they assume they already understand everything about them. And I just thought it was very nice from that perspective.
And the fact that they're so open to each other, there's a genuine childlike curiosity about each other, ostensibly from the perspective of them being neighbors. But I think it crosses a barrier, if you like, and goes to a much more intimate place. And it's almost as if their wives are like obstacles to them developing this relationship.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And it brought me back, as I was watching it, I felt like I was a kid again, watching this show, because it's been a while since I've seen something like this on a screen. For you, being part of it, did it bring back emotions or ideas or experiences that you experienced as a kid watching television?
Oh, watching TV.
Yeah.
Oh, God. The sitcoms of the 1970s in England, definitely, in terms of like, we would watch shows where they had people blacking up, and we loved them. We thought they were great. My parents thought they were wonderful, because, I have to say this might sound offensive, but it was about common humanity, at least at that time, rightly or wrongly.
That's definitely true. Before I go, guys, I wanted to say thank you, because it's a wonderful work. It's a needed work of art that people I know are going to enjoy and are going to have a blast with it. So thank you.
Thank you.
So excited to talk to you about the Pradeeps of Pittsburgh, a story that I found being an immigrant myself, I connected to it from the beginning to end. I found it sweet. I found it a bit nostalgic, extremely funny, and very interesting to learn, to understand cultures and nuances, and living in a country as complex and as sometimes as crazy as America. How was it for you as storytellers to jump in a story like this?
Sahana, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. It's definitely a relatable story, even though I am not directly an immigrant myself. My parents are, and I guess I'm first generation. But some of those feelings of not fitting in and needing to do something crazy to stand out and to get any sort of attention, I can really relate to as just a Indian person living, like born and brought up in America. And I like that they're showing both the pros and cons of both countries. It's America isn't perfect, neither is India, and and that's the reality, and I like that the show is able to get real about that.
Yeah, it was to me it was very attractive to be part of a show that tells a very authentic story. I know we use this word authentic, but it's literally authentic, because this is a very specific kind of Indian family coming for a very specific reason. They're not just like sad and need a better life. No, they're a family that has had inner conversations that's brought them here. And every character is very funny. And you see, as an Indian, I don't look at the world and say, wouldn't it be nice if the whole world was more Indian? I look at the world as an Indian. So when you see this show, yeah, the immigrant story is definitely a part of it, but say you put that aside, it's still a hilarious story about parents and families and neighbors and, the quirkiness of America and the quirkiness of teenagers. I love the fact that it's almost like it's very difficult to see where the being Indian and the just being human ends and starts. And that's what my life is like, because I'm Indian. I'm always looking through these eyes. So I don't know if that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. And on that note, the universality of it all, because through an Indian lens, it's like we're all the same. And we're all so connected, and we all have the same issues and the same longings and the same happiness and the same sadness. And that's what the series showed. That's why I felt so connected and so nostalgic watching it. And besides that, the fact that it's a family show. Every time you watch now different shows on streaming, you see like an issue, there's violence, there's something else. But this brings you back to early 90s, 2000s, where it was more wholesome and nicer and had a deeper message to it, right?
Yeah, Asana, you said exactly this earlier about the show having an early 2000s feel and being a family show. That's literally your words.
Yeah.
Not to say your words, Mitch. I was hearing them twice back to back. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, you see, so we're not that off.
No, it's spot on. I mean, it has the kind of it's just it's a fun watch, and it's like you laugh, and then there's this element of the mystery element and the dark comedy of it all. It's still there, but at the end of the day, this is a show you can watch with your family, regardless of if you're South Asian or of a different background. There's something relatable for everybody.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time and for such a beautiful body of work. I loved it, and I know people will too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mauricio Ginestra, popticker.com. So we're back, man.
We're
I'm
back.
happy to talk to you. So as I was saying,
No, I can't hear him.
you can hear me?
So,
Can you hear me? No? No
is it
way.
just me? Stephanie, can you hear me?
I can hear both of you.
And I can hear everybody too.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Let's try this again.
Okay. So welcome, man. So happy to talk to you.
So happy to be here.
Excited about this show. I was talking to everybody about the nostalgic component of a show like this. It's a family sitcom, but it's a family sitcom with a twist that feels so real in America, especially nowadays. Uh, and I find it extremely necessary for you as a storyteller. How do you feel about stories like this, and what do you think they bring to society?
I think stories like this are very important because, especially stories told through a comedic lens, because they really connect with a broad audience, right? They connect with the audience that has this experience. They connect with the audience that has seen people have this experience that are on the other side of it. And in showing that there's a universal struggle and there's a universal family idea, I think it opens people's minds to the idea of, hey, it's all good, like people come here to follow their dreams. People come here and become part of our lives. That's what an immigrant story is. Beyond people come and struggle. It's like, no, people come and become part of your world. So on either side of it, it's a very important story to tell.
And you know what I enjoy a lot about that, being an immigrant myself, the fact that it normalizes
Yes.
that immigrants can be part of a community from different ethnic backgrounds and be part of something bigger in another country. And that I find very important, because it's like putting stereotypes aside.
Right.
Do you feel it that way?
I actually do. And not only do I find it putting stereotypes aside, it's almost finding out that these stereotypes, you share your own stereotypes, right? So when you view somebody as an other, you have to realize, oh, you're the other to them, until you realize you have common ground. And sometimes that common ground is in the most surprising places. It's like, oh, nobody realizes that there's a stereotype about them too. And that's the funny thing, is like, it's reflective. So part of the idea of the Pradeeps of Pittsburgh is, even if you're not Indian, even if you're not an immigrant, you will be reflected in this show in the best way, that it'll pull a layer back on your own existence. And like you said, it'll show, hey, I'm not that different. In fact,
Exactly.
I love these people, for their own reasons, because they're like me, or they're different and I'm learning something new about them, which I love too.
That's a fact. Thank you so much for such a wonderful body of work. I really enjoyed it, and I think people are gonna love it as well. So thank you.
Mauricio, thank you so much. And thank you for loving the show. And I hope your audience and your readers and everybody who connects to the show through you feels the same.
They will. Thanks.
Thank you, Mauricio.